A whisper in the shadows, a mind unseen yet profoundly felt. Imagine power so subtle, so insidious, it shapes destinies without a trace. What if the architects of our reality aren't the heroes of history, but the unseen puppeteers cloaked in charm, cunning, and cruelty? They are not mythical villains, but real forces hiding in plain sight, the Dark Triad. 3 minds, 3 deadly traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Each alone a storm, together a tempest that bends the world to its will. Narcissism seduces with an intoxicating illusion of grandeur, a reflection distorted, yet irresistible. It thrives on admiration, demanding the spotlight even as it consumes empathy. Beneath the sparkling surface lies a hollow core, an abyss of insatiable hunger for validation. The narcissist's world is a stage where others exist only to fuel their self-made mythology. Machiavellianism, the master of the unseen game, thrives in the shadows where trust is currency and betrayal the ultimate weapon. It's a mind sculpted by strategy, cold calculation, and ruthless patience. The dark chess player who sacrifices pawns without remorse to checkmate the future. Devoid of empathy, it masks intentions behind velvet smiles and measured words. Every interaction is a move on a cosmic board, every relationship a tool sharpened to wield influence. This mind doesn't seek applause or admiration but power. Quiet, efficient, and absolute. It weaves invisible webs that entangle kings and commoners alike, pulling strings with a precision that renders resistance futile. To confront Machiavellianism is to face a reflection of your own vulnerabilities, weaponized by a mind unburdened by conscience. Psychopathy, the darkest of the triad, is a void wrapped in a mask of charm, a predator of human emotion untouched by remorse or fear. It moves like a shadow, ruthless and cold, dismantling empathy with effortless ease. The psychopath's power lies not in manipulation alone, but in the fearless abandonment of moral constraints. It is the mind that thrives in chaos, wielding cruelty as both shield and sword. This psyche is an abyss where empathy dies, leaving only raw will and cold calculation. It gazes into the heart of human vulnerability without blinking, extracting power from suffering with a predator's grace. The world is a playground and everyone a piece to be toyed with, shattered or spared at will. Together, these 3 minds form a triad of destruction, a silent empire built on distorted reflections, tangled schemes, and heartless dominion. They are the dark architects of influence, not through brute force, but through the subtle erosion of trust, compassion, and truth. Their power is an invisible current beneath society's surface, shaping politics, business, and culture without declaration or fanfare. To see their presence is to confront the unsettling truth that evil wears 1,000 masks, not always monstrous, but often seductive, logical, and even brilliant. The real danger lies not in their extremes, but in how their shadows creep inside us all, tempting our own dark impulses. What makes the Dark Triad most terrifying is their silent infection of the human spirit, a latent darkness that can awaken in the cracks of our own morality. They thrive not just in others but in ourselves, the subtle urges to dominate, deceive, or detach from empathy. The real battleground is internal, a ceaseless war between light and shadow within the human psyche. To resist their pull is to recognize the seductive voice of narcissism flattering your ego, the cold whisper of Machiavellian logic justifying ruthless choices, and the chilling silence of psychopathy numbing your conscience. The journey toward freedom demands ruthless self-awareness and an unflinching gaze into the abyss within. Yet, in understanding the Dark Triad, there lies a paradoxical power. Knowledge itself becomes a shield. To grasp their nature is to dissolve their grip, to illuminate the shadows where they thrive. It is the philosopher's burden and gift, to face the darkness not with fear, but with clarity and courage. For in every mind lies the potential for both creation and destruction. The true mastery of the self begins when the hidden puppeteer is revealed, when the whispers lose their power and the tempest within finds calm. But beware, this triad does not merely lurk in shadows far away. It is woven into the fabric of society itself. It thrives in the corridors of power where empathy is sacrificed at the altar of ambition, where charisma masks manipulation, and where the ends justify the means. It is the silent pact whispered behind closed doors, the cold calculation in the boardroom, and the ruthless detachment in decisions that ripple through millions of lives. To confront this reality is to awaken from a collective dream, to see the strings beneath the spectacle. And yet, The most unsettling truth is how easily these dark traits seep into the everyday, in subtle acts of self-importance, calculated deception, or emotional detachment. They are not confined to villains but exist as latent shadows within all of us, waiting for the right moment to surface. The question is not whether these forces control the world, but how much of ourselves we surrender to their pull. Freedom begins by naming the darkness, by refusing to let it define our choices or dilute our humanity. In the end, the Dark Triad is a mirror held to the human soul, a reflection of what lurks beneath the veneer of civility and morality. To gaze into this mirror is to confront uncomfortable truths about ambition, desire, and the fragility of empathy. It forces us to ask, are we masters of our own minds or unwitting vessels for darker currents? The power to choose to embrace light or shadow remains the ultimate act of rebellion. To understand the Dark Triad is not to glorify its darkness, but to arm ourselves with insight. It is a call to vigilance, to nurture empathy, question power, and embrace the complexity of human nature without denial. For only by facing the shadows within and without can we hope to forge a world where light is not extinguished by the allure of control and cruelty. Awareness is the first rebellion, the seed from which true freedom blooms. Still, the Dark Triad's grip is not absolute. It falters in the presence of genuine connection, humility, and the courage to face one's own flaws. The deadliest minds may manipulate the world's stage, but the human spirit retains the power to disrupt their scripts, to rewrite the narrative with compassion and integrity. True power lies not in control, but in the freedom to choose kindness over cruelty, truth over deception, and empathy over apathy. In the vast theater of human experience, the Dark Triad plays a role as ancient as time itself, a shadow that challenges growth, self-awareness, and connection. Yet, it is also a call to awaken, to illuminate the dark corners of our minds and societies. Only by acknowledging these deadliest minds can we begin to dismantle their invisible empires and reclaim our shared humanity. The battle is ongoing, silent yet fierce, waged not in armies but within each heartbeat. The question remains, how do we guard against minds that wield deception as an art form and cruelty as a tool? The answer lies not in isolation, but in shared vigilance and relentless self-examination. The Triad's deadliest strength is its invisibility, its ability to hide in plain sight, thriving in our blind spots and justifications. Awareness becomes resistance, insight becomes armor. To fight the dark, we must first see it clearly. But even as we confront these dark forces, we must remember, light and shadow are not enemies but intertwined dancers in the human soul. The darkness teaches us our limits, our fears, and our potential for cruelty, but also opens the door to deeper compassion, humility, and strength. To embrace the full spectrum of our nature is to step into true power, the power to transform ourselves and the world. Ultimately, the Dark Triad's grip is a test of consciousness itself, a profound challenge to awaken beyond instinct, ego, and fear. Each choice to act with integrity chips away at their silent empire. Each moment of empathy a rebellion against their cold calculus. In the endless dance between darkness and light, our humanity is the fiercest weapon of all. Remember, the Dark Triad is not a distant myth but a mirror of the choices we face daily. In every ambition tested by selfishness, every truth bent by manipulation, every heart hardened by detachment, they whisper, waiting for us to surrender. Yet, within that choice lies the promise of redemption, the possibility to break free. The darkness controls only those who embrace its call. To refuse is to reclaim our power. The greatest victory against the Dark Triad is not destruction, but transformation. It is the alchemy of shadow into light, where awareness births empathy and control yields to connection. This journey demands humility and acceptance of our own capacity for darkness balanced by the relentless pursuit of growth. In this paradox lies the true path to mastery over the deadliest minds. Yet the journey is never solitary. Every soul awakened to this truth becomes a beacon, a light piercing the dense fog of manipulation and indifference. Together, these beacons form a constellation of resistance, illuminating the path toward a world less ruled by the cold calculus of the Dark Triad and more by the warmth of shared humanity. This collective awakening is the final horizon, the promise of a future reclaimed. The shadows of the Dark Triad may stretch long, but they do not have to define our story. Within each moment lies the choice to resist, to nurture empathy, practice honesty, and embody courage. The power to transform the world is not a distant myth but a daily decision etched in the small acts of integrity that defy the darkness. In this dance of light and shadow, we become the authors of our own fate. And so, the deadliest minds that secretly control the world are not invincible gods but shadows within, echoes of fear, desire, and fractured power. By embracing awareness, courage, and compassion, we illuminate the darkness and reclaim sovereignty over our minds. The battle is eternal, but so is the light that rises to meet it. In the end, true mastery is not domination, but freedom. Thank you for listening to these final moments with us. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Drop a comment below to let us know what you think, and if you love this, a share would mean the world. See you in the next video. Peace out.